Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today, and we're starting with Sony announcing the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for July, and they're also celebrating the 15th anniversary of PlayStation Plus. So these games are going to go live on July 1st, 2025, and you'll be able to redeem them up until August 4th, 2025. And those games are Diablo 4 for PS5 and PS4, King of Fighters 15 for PS5 and PS4, as well as Jusant for PS5. And on top of that, they have a list of different PlayStation Plus 15th anniversary celebrations that they're going to be doing, which will be on screen, and you can pause it to kind of look it over. It's nothing like major, but just, a couple of smaller things here and there. And so, yeah. Let me know what you think of the PlayStation Plus Essential lineup for July. We're going to move on to the next topic, which talks about Death Stranding 2 on the beach. The reviews are out, and based on 108 critic reviews, it's currently sitting at a 90 and is deemed a Metacritic must-play. So it's incredible to see, Death Stranding getting so much recognition. I love the first game, and I feel that the first game was slightly underrated in some ways, although still a game that's not for everybody. And, Death Stranding 2, it's hard to say if it's going to be a game for everybody. I've only put about 5 to 6 hours into it so far. I'm absolutely loving it, and I immediately feel the improvements with this game over the first one. And so I think that, it's safe to say that this game is going to be in the running for Game of the Year. Again, it's labeled as a must-play. I think there's still going to be people that pass on this, obviously. It's still a delivery game at the core, but man, even just from what I've played so far, you can really tell that Kojima Productions took in all the feedback from the first game and just decided to improve upon it and refine it. And it's, as of right now, everything I could have asked for. And so on top of that, we are getting a breakdown of the Decima engine once again. This is being reported by Push Square. They say the tech wizards at Digital Foundry have once again put the latest game through its paces, and this time it's PS5's big console exclusive, Death Stranding 2 on the beach. It may come as no surprise, but Digital Foundry's John Linneman is super impressed with Kojima Productions' latest, labeling it, quote, one of the best looking games of this console generation, end quote. If you're a little worried about spoilers or seeing new footage, maybe don't watch the actual video, and I'm not going to have it playing in the background, but it is worth a watch if you're interested in all the visual stuff that the game has to offer. Anyway, it seems the game is a technical masterpiece. Environments offer some of the best visual landscapes you'll encounter in any video game, with exceptionally fine detail, including very impressive weather effects that have a direct impact on the gameplay, as well as looking lovely. Character models also receive lots of praise, with performances that make the ensemble feel alive. All sorts of visual techniques and top quality animation combine to magical effect, as they put it. Perhaps most importantly, the PS5 and PS5 Pro versions of the game run excellently, with only minor differences in terms of image quality and graphical settings between them. Death Stranding 2 runs super smooth at 60 frames per second in performance mode, and at 30 frames per second with a higher resolution in quality mode. Having said that, the PS5 Pro does offer some visual improvements as expected, but it seems that those with a standard PS5 will also be well served. Linneman doesn't stop there, also drawing attention to the game's sound and music, calling DS2 a, quote, masterpiece of sound. So, yeah, this is not at all surprising. We know how much of a powerhouse the Decima engine is. We saw what Kojima Productions did with DS1. We saw Horizon Forbidden West, and I had no doubt in my mind that Kojima Productions would raise the bar once again. And I can say, playing this on the PS5 Pro, this is genuinely one of the most striking games I've ever played, specifically when it comes to the environments and the landscapes. I mean, it has reached a new level. So, I'm, again, playing on the PS5 Pro. I'm playing it in performance mode. It looks incredible. It runs great. And again, so far, this game is turning out to be everything I could have hoped for. So let me know if you're playing Death Stranding 2, and if so, what you think of it so far. We're going to move on and talk about Naughty Dog's upcoming Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. This is once again coming from Push Square. They say the next game from Naughty Dog is Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, and while we have a rough idea of what to expect, details on the game's structure and mechanics remain under wraps for now. However, eagle-eyed fans on Reddit have spotted one potential clue from a former Naughty Dog employee. According to this person's profile, they worked on, quote, an RPG progression system for the upcoming sci-fi action title. This has naturally led people to believe Intergalactic may be the studio's most RPG-leaning game to date. RPG-esque progression is already there in the Last of Us series with skill trees, weapon upgrades, and so on. It wouldn't be too much of a surprise if elements like these are pushed further in Intergalactic. On top of that, the studio head Neil Druckmann has previously stated his love of From Software RPGs such as Bloodborne and Elden Ring, so some inspiration could be drawn from those games. What has been said up till now is that Intergalactic is playable and is, quote, incredible, according to Naughty Dog. And on top of that, I believe Neil Druckmann has went on record numerous times saying that Intergalactic is going to offer the deepest gameplay that Naughty Dog has ever done. So, yeah, it does seem like this game is 100% going to not only be way more gameplay heavy, but lean more so in the RPG direction or the action RPG direction. And I mean, is it possible that Intergalactic is going to be Naughty Dog's take on an action RPG? Let's stay tuned and find out, but as of right now, it seems like that is the direction they're leaning in. So very interested to see the actual gameplay of this title revealed. But we are going to move on to the next topic, which is a release date announcement for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 Enhanced. This was announced for the PS5 not that long ago, but now we're finding out it's releasing August 12th. And they say here in the YouTube description for the trailer that it's going to be optimized for the PlayStation 5 and PS5 Pro Enhanced with added features, performance mode, and immersive haptic feedback for new ways to experience the award-winning and critically acclaimed next chapter of Senua's story. So, as of right now, I don't know if there's going to be a physical version of this game. I believe when Microsoft launched it for the Xbox, there was no physical version. So we'll have to kind of like keep an eye on that. But either way, this is a game that I know a lot of PlayStation players are looking forward to experiencing. And, you look at the visual fidelity of this title, knowing that it's going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced, I've no doubt that this is also going to be one of the best looking games we see make its way to PlayStation. So let me know if this is a title you're going to be picking up or not. Moving on to the next topic, we have a report here from VGC that says PlayStation's policy of not releasing its first-party games on PlayStation Plus on the day of the release will continue, according to a company executive. In an interview with GameFile, PlayStation's Vice President of Global Services, Nick McGuire, was asked whether the company was considering changing its PlayStation Plus policy to match that of Xbox, where first-party releases are added to the top tier of its Game Pass service on day one. McGuire replied that it wasn't, insisting that the company's policy of adding its first-party games at least a year after launch, and instead selecting 4 to 5 indie games per year to add to PS Plus was working for Sony. We've sort of stayed true to our strategy across the board, where we're not looking to put games in day and date, he explained. Our strategy of finding 4 or 5 independent day and date titles and using that to complement our strategy of bringing games in when they're 12 to 18 months old or older, that balance for us is working really well across the platform. So this was something that I did want to highlight because we did just cover the PlayStation business meeting, and they didn't really talk about this aspect of PlayStation Plus or their services going day and date, but we have the reaffirmation from a Sony executive that, although it's not surprising, if you were wondering if this is something they're considering changing their mind on, they are not. And you can't really argue that the strategy has been working because according to Sony, PlayStation Plus is still doing pretty well. So yeah, I think that this is actually a good idea. You want to leverage these big AAA titles that are very expensive to develop, right, and make. You want to leverage them to not only sell consoles, but, try to make money through sales so you can recoup your cost. And hopefully these games, like Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei, can become profitable so we can continue to get more of them. And then later down the line, leverage them and utilize them to entice people to subscribe to PlayStation Plus. Makes a lot of sense. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.